Okay, welcome back, people. I've just got to set up one or two more things on my other computer to get ready. Okay, we're pretty good to go. Okay, so today we will be looking at how to identify intervals in written melodies, just like we've got on page 43 of your orange textbook. So we'll just go to that page now. I'll bring it up on the screen. So here it is. Let me just scroll up. Okay, so this is page 43, and you will get a question just like this in the exam. So the way this question works is it requires you to name the bracketed intervals in the melodies, and you write the interval underneath each bracket. So make sure you use the quality and number words like perfect fourth and and fourth. You'll see that a typical question looks just like this. There's a lovely little tune. I might play the first one. Sounds like this. Let's wait for the volume to turn on my keyboard. It goes like this. Now, of course, in the exam they won't play the melody to you. Your job is to use your theoretical knowledge to identify the intervals through looking at the notes. So you'll see here in these questions there are key signatures at the start, and you need to really keep that in mind, because if the note in the melody is an F sharp or a C sharp, you'll need to work out the question as if it was F sharp or C sharp. And in this one, for example, there is a bracketed note that's a C. So you need to work that out being C sharp, and so on. This question doesn't have a key signature. Instead it has the sharps on the notes as accidentals. So that's something to keep an eye on, and here's the rest of these questions here. So it's just the bracketed notes and so on. What I'm going to do now is I am going to jump over to the camera and then show you my worksheet that's sitting on my desk. So just give me a few seconds and I'll get that ready for you. Okay. So here's that question again. And we're going to work on question 1. What we'll do today is, in fact, I'll work through questions 1 and 2 with you as a class, and then you can work over questions 3, 4, 5 and 6 over the week. Now, like any other question that involves scales, chords or intervals, the first thing you want to write down in your exam when you're allowed to start writing is one of these. Father Christmas gets drunk at every bar. We've done this many times now, so you know the sharps. I think I need to put a bit of blue tack under the bottom of this as well to stop it slipping. Give me a second. So I'm holding the camera with one hand, and then writing with the other. So we know this one, so it's sharps at this end go that way, and it's take away 2. Flats at this end is add 1. You need to know that, because if you don't understand the key signatures of each of the notes, you can't get this right. So let's have a look. Here's an example of an interval. There's 2 notes. Step 1 is to count the gap between the notes. So I'd like you to write this down on your sheet right now. Step 1, count the gap. Give you a few moments to write that down. Cool. So counting the gap will give us the number. So for example, if we look at this interval, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's definitely some sort of octave. We need to look and work out though what type of octave that is. And the way we do that is by checking to see what the key signature of the bottom note is, and then seeing if the top note fits. So work out the key signature of the bottom note. Finally, you then work out and say, does the note fit? So let's work it out. What's D major need? D major needs Father Christmas gets drunk. Take away 2. Father Christmas is what we need. So I still recommend you write the key signature above the question like this. And then once you've done that, you need to see if the note fits. So, does the top note fit? Cool. So let's have a look. The bottom note's a D, the top note's a D. I think we know the answer to this one, but does D fit in the key signature? Is D affected by it? No, F sharp, C sharp. So we say that D fits. So therefore, if it fits and it's an octave, the answer is perfect. I'm going to model the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them in a row for you, showing my thought processes as I go along. If I go a little bit too fast for you, once this video is over, it'll be available for viewing. So you can go through it as many times as you need, pausing it and stopping it and starting it to work things out at your own pace. So let's have a look here. So step 1, count the gap. So there are the pair of notes. 1, 2, 3. It's some sort of third. Okay, let's have a look at the next question, or next step. We need to work out the key signature of the bottom note, the lower note. That note is a C. We know that C major has 0 sharps or flats. No sharps or flats at all, so therefore this... no one picked me up in the question that I've made a mistake. Maybe I did it on purpose. I'd like to say I did to trick you, but no, I actually just wasn't thinking. Let's have a close look at this one. What is that note? It's a C. Go back to the key signature. C sharp. It shows how easy it is to forget the key signature, because I just did. So, C sharp. That note's a C sharp. So what does C sharp major need? C sharp major is all sharp. Cool. So, if all notes are meant to be sharp, and that's a C sharp, in fact, I recommend you put the sharp next to the note so you don't confuse yourself later. If that's a C sharp, and all notes in C sharp major are meant to be sharp, that E should be sharp. But it's not. It's just natural. So it's smaller, it's lower. Therefore, it's not a major third, it's a minor third. Okay, let's move on. Let's count the gap for this. Oops, I skipped one. Let's go to this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know it's some sort of fourth. That bottom note is an A. Double check the key signature. No, not being affected. It's an A. What does A major need? Father Christmas gets drunk at takeaway 2. Father Christmas gets. Yep. Is that better? Can you see that better? So, if we have a look here, that's an A. What's that top note? That's a D. Let's see. Is that D affected by the key signature? F sharp, C sharp, G sharp? No, the D is not affected. Therefore, it is perfect, because fourths, fifths, octaves, and unison are perfect. I will hold the camera closer, by the way, but also, to see it better, you can also just expand your window out, and then it makes it bigger on your screen if you've got it full screen. But I will hold the camera a little closer. It does get to a stage where it doesn't focus very well, but yeah. Okay, let's do a few more. Let's have a look at this one. So there is E to A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another fourth. Double check the key signature. No, it doesn't affect it. That was over here. Key signature is Father Christmas, F sharp, C sharp. It's E and A. That bottom note's an E. So let's have a look. Where are we on the page? Father Christmas gets drunk at every takeaway 2. 4 sharps. Four sharps. So let's check. If that's an E and that's an A, is A affected by this key signature? That A. Well, no, F, C, G, D. A stays the same. So yet again, because it's not affected by the key signature, it remains perfect. And one more for this line. What's this note? Is it C? I'm not going to make that mistake again. It's C sharp because of the key signature. So I'm going to pop that sharp in. In fact, I recommend you write the sharps in for the key signature against individual notes. So that's a C sharp. Now let's move on. Let's count the gap. 1, 2. It's a second. How am I going, guys? Am I giving Deborah Smith a run for her money with her videos? Let's take one more look at this. That's a C sharp. We know that C sharp major is all sharps. So therefore, for this to be a major second, that'd have to be D sharp. But it's not. And so if it's not, it means it's lower than D sharp because it's a D, natural. So it's a minor second. I'm just going to slowly scan my camera over this line of music so you can check the answers closely. Cool. Okay, dokes, I'm going to do one more line of questions with you and then you can do the rest for your homework task. So I'm looking at the time and it's already 1:45. And I want to give you some time to meet back with me in the Zoom room if you need help. So let's have a look at this question. Does it have a key signature? No. So this one has any sharps or flats, in this case sharps, in the question. So the process is still the same. Let's count the gap first. So thanks for that comment, Sam. I'm sure Deborah Smith's loving what I'm doing too. Okay, so, in fact this isn't her textbook, this is her competitor's textbook. Cool. Okay, let's just look at this one. So count the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's some sort of fifth. Next question. What note is that? It's an A. What does A major need? A major needs all sharps up to G, because you take away the last two. So, Father Christmas gets. And finally, you just need to check and see, does that top note fit? It's an E. It's not affected by the key signature, so it's perfect. Because remember, perfects and majors fit the key signature. Let's move along. Oh, we've got 3 in a row. So let's have a look. Count. 1, 2. It's a second. So let's have a look. I'm loving the comments in the live stream. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at this one now. So I've counted it's a second. That lower note, and it's always the bottom note, the lower pitch that you go by. That is a B. What does B major need? Let's go up here. Father Christmas gets drunk at every bar. Take away 2. I'll come back to that in a minute, Liddy, for that question. Take away 2. Father Christmas gets drunk at. Okay, so let's come back to your question, Liddy. Right now, we've done step 1 and 2. So, step 1 was count the gap. 1, 2. Step 2 was work out the key signature of the bottom note. And then finally, step 3 is does the top note, and I said not, I should say note. Does the top note fit? Because if it does fit, then it's major or perfect. If it's smaller, then it's minor. If it's smaller again, it's diminished. Except if it was perfect, then it's only it goes straight to being diminished. And if the interval's bigger than we're expecting, then it becomes augmented. Let's carry on and do 3 more intervals. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's some sort of fourth. That note is an E. So let's go up to here. Father Christmas gets drunk at every... I'll come back to that question in a minute, Sam. So Father Christmas gets drunk at every... Go back to 4 sharps. Okay, so let's come back to this one. That's an E, that's an A, that's the top note. Does A get affected by the key signature? No. So therefore it's perfect. So I'll come back to the question about why did I count from the B. When we do interval questions, we always work from the lower note. So it's not necessarily the note that comes first. In this case, like you've got D, C, B. C and B is the interval. While C is certainly the first note in the order of the melody being played, the B is your lower note. Cool? So B is your lower note. And so that's why I counted from B going up. Similar to this question, I counted from E going up to A, because whilst A is the first note in the tune, E is the lower note in the pair. And so that's why I counted up. Good question. Thank you for that one, Sam. Okay, 2 more intervals to go, and then I'll leave you to do the rest of the page. So, let's have a look. That's a C, and there's no key signature, so it's still a C. You can even label the notes if you want to. That's a D. Let's count. 1, 2, second. Okay, so that's a second. What does C major have in its key signature? It has no sharps or flats. So, therefore, that D fits. It's a major second. And one more. The G is actually labelled with a sharp symbol, so it's G sharp. So let's count. 1, 2. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky, because there technically really isn't a G sharp major. If a piece needed to be in G sharp major, the composer would write it in A flat major instead. So, how can you work this out? Well, some of you might picture it on the piano, and you'd see that G sharp to A is a semitone. Or if you're really not sure, what you could do is you could actually cancel out that sharp. But if you lower that note by a semitone, you have to lower this note by a semitone. You could then work it out from there and go G to A flat. G major has F sharp, we know that. And so, is the A flat a part of the scale? G major doesn't have A flat, so it's smaller, it's minor. Cool. I'll just quickly scan my camera from left to right over this question so you can have a look at my working out. Cool. Okay, does anyone have any other questions to put onto the live chat? I know there's a little bit of a delay between me speaking and questions popping up on the live chat because there's a delay between me and the real video. But I will have a quick wait for you to see if you want to type any more questions in. No, it looks like we're pretty good then. Look, you can ask any more questions back in Zoom. So what I'll do now is I'll end the stream and then we'll go back into the Zoom classroom. If you've got any further questions you want to ask, please ask them there. Otherwise, if you're watching this at another time of the day, it's been lovely having you on my channel, and see you next time. And the question, where do we send it? We send it to the online submission task for next week, because it's a Friday. I'm going to expect it in your online week 2 task. When we jump back into the Zoom, Talia, we can show you how to do that again in there. So I'll see you in the Zoom to give you any further instructions on how to upload this work for submission. Cool. Thank you. And Matthew, similar question. I'll come back into Zoom and explain it there. Have a good day, everyone. See you back in Zoom soon.